What's going on, everyone? About 68% of the S&P 500 closed up in the green today, and as we all know, because of the holiday this week, we do have a short trading week. Basically, the market will be completely closed on Thursday, and it will close early tomorrow. So the market will close at 1 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. So let's really make sure to make tomorrow, and especially Friday, count, because again, it is a short trading week, and just because it's a short trading week, that doesn't necessarily mean that it will be a completely boring one. We still do have a lot to cover, as Apple broke brand new record highs today. Tesla is seeing some pretty crazy price action, and on top of that, we do have a really crazy $3 million big money trade to talk about tonight. So we have a lot to talk about, and with that being said, Tom, let's not waste any time and let's jump right into it.
Yeah, the SPY actually did very well today and is pushing back towards that big 550 all-time high that we've been watching. You know, there was a big double top around there, and the market's pushing up very well today. It was up 0.67%, and that's mainly due to Tesla. I will say Tesla threw the market on its back today, and there were so many stocks that were green on the heat map. Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Meta, but Tesla was up 10% with those delivery numbers that ended up beating expectations. And Mike, we talked about these delivery numbers last night and how important it was going to be for Tesla's stock, and ended up being very awesome here with it closing over 10%. And those numbers came in at 443,956 on the deliveries, and that beat the estimate of 439,000 that we talked about yesterday. So it was good to see them beat the estimate there, and it actually rose 14.8% over the first quarter as well, but it is down year over year. But it's good to see it coming back a little bit from the first quarter, and investors seem to really eat this one up today.
There we go. And, like you said, the price action was just great today. Tesla moved with a ton of momentum. And, Tom, I have to give you a shout out on this one because you talked about Tesla quite a bit in yesterday's video. And, honestly, you couldn't ask for a better price action with this one today. So, shout out to you.
Yeah, that was a badass play there on Tesla. We've been seeing a lot of awesome ones lately, whether it's Tesla the past couple days or even Chewy over the past couple weeks and a few others. We've been seeing some amazing movement here in the short term, and Tesla just continue to do well with those deliveries. And, as we go to the daily chart, Tesla's now starting to push up and above, actually, the mother of all trend lines here with Tesla. So we'll have to see how much more momentum this thing can have in the short term. It's a short week. Tomorrow the market's going to close early. I'm curious if that's going to put a bit of a damper on this, but either way, hopefully we continue to see this nice price action keep up into tomorrow, and we will talk about more Tesla levels in a little while, as it's my play once again, right? How could you not go wrong with it?
There we go. But another stock that had some pretty good price action today was Apple, and like I said, it actually made a brand new record high. What's worth noting with Apple is, as we all know, they are one of the big bad tech stocks that especially have an influence on the market as a whole. So when you see Apple ripping to the upside and breaking, all-time highs, that definitely helps support the market and lift it higher. So either way, keep a close eye on Apple, because it is starting to move in a way that's, I guess you could say, at least out of the ordinary for Apple in the short term. Apple has been one of those stocks over the past couple of years that has been a lot more slow and choppy compared to some of these other big tech stocks like Microsoft and Nvidia. So when we do see Apple moving to the upside like it is now, it says a lot, because it shows that a lot of money is, rushing into Apple, whereas when you look at some of the stocks that have been carrying the market over like the past couple of years, like Nvidia, it's starting to slow down a little bit. So the way I take this is that we're seeing a little bit of like a rotation here. It's not necessarily like a good thing or a bad thing. It's just more so something that you should observe and keep in the back of your head as we go into these next couple trading days. But another thing worth keeping in mind, Tom, is that we are also in that time of the year that does tend to do pretty well for the market. When we go all the way back to 1950, we could see that July has been a pretty strong part of the year, not only since 1950, but even over the past 20 years, 10 years, and just for election years in general. So as we go into not even just the next couple trading days, but even the rest of the month, understand that historically speaking, we do see a good amount of buying pressure, in the market at this time.
Yeah, we do. It's awesome to see that July is a pretty good month overall, especially over the past 10 years. That's awesome. I will say on the election year, it's not the best. Like, there's a pretty big difference between like the 10-year and the election year, but it's still pretty good. In election years, I know things can get a little bit shakier than most other years, and you can kind of see that on the chart too, how with the election years, it's usually lower than most of the other years that you see here. So keep that in mind too. But July is going to be a big month, Mike. Looking at the historical data, if the market does keep moving, that's going to be a great thing to see. And I really like how you mentioned NVIDIA a little while ago as well, because everybody's been saying, oh my gosh, NVIDIA is carrying the market. If they start to drop, it might drag things with it. But as we saw today, these other stocks might make up for it a bit.
Sounds good. So, Tom, heading into tomorrow, what would you say are the key levels to watch for SPY in both directions?
Yeah, SPY had a big rip today, and there's going to be a little bit to watch for here in the short term. So the high of day today, right around close, was at 549. So I think that that's going to be very important to watch here over, into tomorrow, obviously. But for the next couple of days, I think that 550 is still the most major level overhead. If we go out to like a 15-minute chart and I scroll down here, I'll circle this double top. It's going to be huge to see the SPY break out above there today. And there's a lot of stocks at key levels, like Amazon's around 200 and Tesla just broke through 200. So there's a lot of stocks that are breaking out. I wouldn't be surprised if SPY tried to run up to a new all-time high, especially if it moves with the way it did today. But if it does end up falling, there's been a lot of big levels lately. 547 is going to be the first major support that I'm looking for. Following that with 546, 545.50, and then 544. I think 544 to 545.50 was huge over the past couple days and couple weeks, and you can just see all those big bounces right around that big support.
Yeah, there's been a lot of demand in that area, but good stuff overall. And like we talked a little bit yesterday, the big man, Jerome Powell, spoke today, but to be honest, it was pretty boring and uneventful.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are honestly getting quite pissed off at Jerome Powell here over the past couple of months and even over the past couple of years. Ever since transitory, I think it's just been a slow downwards progression line for Powell, right? Like, I feel like he's losing a lot of support here. And then I just feel like he just keeps saying the same exact thing over and over again. And I think people are kind of tired of it. The main quote is, again, he said, "We want to be more confident that inflation is moving sustainably towards 2% before we start the process of reducing or loosening policy," which essentially means cutting rates. So he's looking like, hey, we're just going to keep looking at the data. And we have to be more confident that inflation's coming down. I mean, how many times have we heard that over the past couple of years, Mike? I think it's like well into the hundreds now.
Yeah, and to be honest, he is playing chess here because what Powell ultimately wants is like a nice, stable market that is slowly moving to the upside. And to be honest, that's exactly what we're seeing. So, his chess strategy is definitely working to his benefit right now, but it definitely is annoying some short-term traders because he's kind of taking away that crazy volatility that a lot of people know and love. But either way, the Powell event didn't really have too much of an impact in the market today, but again, that definitely works to Powell's benefit. But Tom, heading into tomorrow and the rest of the week, what do we have on the economic schedule and then the big bad earnings schedule?
Yeah, so I guess we'll start out with the economic schedule here first. For tomorrow, we are actually going to see the ISM Services PMI as well as some jobless claims come out in the morning. The jobless claims will come out 1 hour before the market opens, and then the ISM Services PMI will come out at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Other than that, the FOMC minutes are also coming out tomorrow, which will kind of give us more of an insight on exactly what the Federal Reserve was thinking and saying at their last FOMC meeting. So we'll be able to kind of analyze what they're looking for a little bit more. And then Friday, we do have the non-farm payrolls and unemployment rates. So there is actually quite a bit of economic data here for the rest of the week. But whenever we go to the earnings calendar, it's definitely empty, Mike. Like you said yesterday, STZ is pretty much the only stock reporting this week that anyone really is going to care about. And I'll be honest, most people probably don't even know what STZ is. So it's definitely a filled week with this, right? I think it's awesome, though, because we can just focus on this awesome price action, which has been really stealing the show here.
Sounds good. Now, one thing I do want to say before we head into tomorrow is that, again, it is going to be a short trading day, so it will be more important than almost any other day to have smart, disciplined, long-term oriented trading habits, because what we do see sometimes is just a chop fest where nothing happens. So the last thing I want to see is for people to get all hyped up about trading tomorrow to only have the market chop around and do nothing. So heading into tomorrow, be prepared where, like, if the market isn't moving all that much, do not feel the need to, go super heavy into a trade that might not be a grade A quality. You don't want to risk your money into a setup that is just mediocre. You want to put your money where, the best, strongest setups are at. And, if we don't see that tomorrow, don't risk your hard-earned money into something that definitely doesn't deserve it. But at the same time, if we do see some good price action and we see some nice, consistent movement, then fire away. But with that being said, let's jump right into the good stuff, which are some setups and predictions for tomorrow. A stock I'm watching very closely right now is BABA, and this is a Chinese stock that has been all over the place, not only over the past couple of years, but even over the past couple months, Tom. This thing has seriously been as volatile as can be. Just looking from the end of April to today, it had a 31% increase, and then it basically lost all of its gains, and it's right back to its starting point. But it had an especially strong day today, and the price action was pretty great. I am looking for a potential continuation out of this one, and it's not only a potential setup for tomorrow. It's more of a setup that can last for a couple of trading days and potentially even a couple of trading weeks. It just depends on the price action that this stock presents. But either way, I really like the potential risk reward with this one in the short term. Right now, the stock is right around that $73.70 area. A stop loss can be placed right under that $72 support with a profit target all the way up to 77. And if you want to get a little bit more risky, you could even put it all the way up to 84 and 88, which are some of the recent bigger levels. So I really like the risk reward here, and we'll see how the price action progresses.
Yeah, that's a pretty good risk-reward ratio, Mike, and I really like in the short term here how it's getting up into this 73.50 range and holding well. I'll definitely keep my eyes on BABA. It's been selling off, but, the China stocks, when they go on runs, they can have some pretty massive ones, so I'll keep it on my radar in the short term. With my next play, I got to go back to Tesla, right? It's done so well. I know we talked about this one earlier and how it ended up popping off today, and even Monday had a great move after we talked about it Sunday night, but looking at the move for tomorrow, there is a lot of big levels overhead. Today, it really failed to break out at 232, so I'm going to keep watching for a breakout there today. It almost got up to there, but then ended up rejecting, and if we go to the book map, there is actually some big resistance right around 231, 232, and 235. So I'm going to be watching these areas very closely. 230 was really major today and ended up holding very well above there. So if we see more good price action heading into tomorrow with Tesla, keep watching for the breakout. It's awesome to see it moving up as much as it is on the daily chart as well. And then there's a lot of hype with those delivery numbers that ended up, I'm not going to say that they crushed it on the delivery numbers, but the price action crushed it, right? And that's honestly more important than even crushing the actual report.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we talked about yesterday, too. Remember, we said these exact words where it's it's more important how the market interprets the news rather than what the news is by itself. Because all the time we see stocks that you could say report good earnings and fall, and we have stocks that report bad earnings and rise. And some people are just confused by it, but at the end of the day, price action is what means the most. So great stuff all around there. And another stock I'm watching pretty closely is SLV. So SLV has been moving in a pretty strong way over the past year. And for those of you who don't know, SLV is an ETF that tracks the price of silver. And what we've been seeing over the past year or so is not only an increase in silver, but also an increase in gold, copper, and just other metals, which is good to see. But basically, SLV has been holding up in a good way, and I really like the risk reward with this one, and I'll elaborate on this more later in the video because I'll give you a hint. There's a pretty big money trade that just came in today with this one. So we'll talk more about it as the video progresses, but to say the least, SLV is definitely on my radar to the upside.
Yeah, like you said, we'll be talking about it a lot more here in just a minute. But with my next play, I'm looking at Bank of America, ticker symbol BAC. We saw a really good breakout today on the daily. And, you know, guys, I'm actually going with the same setups for tomorrow that we went with for today. But these stocks are moving so well in the short term. How could you not? So Bank of America just broke out above a major resistance on the daily chart. And you can see how good that breakout actually was today. That was a fantastic move for them. Their average percent rise is 1% pretty much over the past year, and they ended up rising 2.3% today. You can see that on the stats on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, but I'm just going to keep watching for this to continue up tomorrow. If it breaks out above 41 and we keep seeing that good price action, I'll keep watching them up. These banks have definitely turned it back around after that little short-term dip they had.
All right, sounds good. Well, Tom, I think it's now about that time for today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have Amazon to the upside.
Yeah, Amazon crushed it today, and they're sitting right around $200. So if they could break the high of day today and break out above $200.50, keep looking at them up.
All right, with the next one, we have ARM also to the upside.
ARM is a pretty wild stock, and today was up 2.9%. If it can keep breaking out and break above 164, watch it to the upside.
And with the last one, we have CrowdStrike for both directions.
CrowdStrike is pretty wild here today. I will say there's a bit of a channel that formed. If it can break above the upper side or the higher end of the channel around 387, then watch it to the upside. If it breaks the lower side or support around 382, then watch it back down.
All right, so we have the downside level for a potential move lower. We have the upside level for a potential move higher. That's for CrowdStrike. Don't forget about ARM and Amazon with their potential upside levels as well. But either way, these three stocks are on watch for potential day trades tomorrow. If and only if they break through the levels Tom listed, we want to see breaks of the levels Tom listed and then continuations in the desired direction. The stronger and more consistent the price action is, the better and stronger the setups reflexively become. If these stocks do not break through the levels Tom listed, do not feel the need to force them. Only risk your money on the strong setups and don't settle for any mediocre setup that doesn't have any real strength to it. But either way, those are the three momentum plays for today. And it is now about that time to get into the $3.1 million big money trade. And as you guys already know, we are looking at ticker symbol SLV. And today, the big money, again, put like $3.1 million into the SLV 25 strike call options that expire on November 15th of 2024. Looking at SLV, these call options are already in the money as SLV is trading right around that $27 level. These options have a good amount of time to them. SLV has been in a pretty strong uptrend over the past couple of months. And overall, just the precious metals market or just metals in general have been seeing a nice trend higher, which is definitely good to see. Another thing worth noting is that metals kind of move independently compared to like stocks and just the market as a whole. We could see in the short term, there has been a pretty good correlation between SLV and SPY, but as we all know, correlations do not always stay the same, and it is good to have like, plays that do move in just like slightly different ways compared to like just individual stocks or the market as a whole. So either way, looking at SLV, I really like the risk reward here with this setup. And I think it says a lot how the big money is putting, when you look closer at it, almost $3.2 million into a trade like this one. And I'm excited to see how this one does.
Yeah, it's been in a bit of a downwards channel maybe over the past couple to a few weeks, but overall, silver's been on a really good uptrend, and I really do like the way that it's starting to run in the short term. There's a pretty big support around $26 as well, where it's kind of double bottoming, right where I'm circling. So I'll be watching this one very closely, Mike. I like it because it's a nice swing trade. These expire out in November. It's not going to be something super short term, but then again, with something like silver, it doesn't have those like huge explosive moves on a day-by-day basis. I honestly like it better for swings like this. So I really like this big money play, Mike. I've been liking quite a few of them lately, and this one's one of my favorites with that nice support bounce. But let's go silver. I know there's been a bit of a short-term dip on silver, gold, and just metals in general, but they've all been holding support, and they've been holding high in a pretty good way. And if we start to see bigger moves off these supports, this dip buy, for example, will be a pretty good opportunity.
Sounds good. And another thing worth noting, as we've said many times before, but it's definitely worth refreshing, is that whether you're looking at this SLV big money play or quite frankly any other big money play, if you're going to follow it, you have to give it the time it needs. For example, this option has all the way out until the middle of November. If someone gets into SLV now, it basically has no meaning what SLV does tomorrow or the next day or next week. What ultimately matters is what this ETF does over the course of the next couple months. And a prime example I have of this is ticker symbol ANLY. This was a big money trade that was alerted earlier this year. It consolidated for a couple months, and then it just absolutely blasted to the upside, right? And that is how, some big money trades work. It was a $13 million big money trade placed towards the end of March, and it took all the way until recently, which you could say the end of June, to truly explode. But those who followed big money and, traded it in a smart way did extremely well, while those who were looking for, let's say, a short move over the, a very short time span, missed this opportunity. And of course, not all big money trades will work. Some of them will fail, and that's only natural. But what's more important than anything else is trading in a smart way, and trading in a way that is sustainable and has long-term oriented trading habits. And whether you're trading a big money play, or you're looking at a momentum play for tomorrow, or you're looking at a setup that you find yourself, let's really focus on, especially heading into tomorrow, trading in a way that is disciplined and full of smart trading habits. Every single trader out there has something they can improve upon, right? For some people, it might be keeping stop losses tighter. For others, it might be truly following the money, or, it could be any number of reasons. But let's make tomorrow a day that, you truly commit and, trade in a better, smarter way. So keep that in mind going into tomorrow. But either way, Tom, we have, I guess you could say, 1.5 trading days left for the week. So let's make them count.
Yeah, don't forget about that early close tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be a pretty big deal for a lot of people. Let me know in the comments, what's the over-under on the amount of people that are going to forget about this tomorrow? I bet there's going to be so many crazy messages tomorrow. So just be careful, especially if you're holding options that expire in the short term. They could get a little bit crazy, especially those single-day options like on SPY and etc. So just watch out over the next couple days. But yeah, let's go, Mike. These stocks are blasting off. We're seeing great momentum in the short term. Of course, keep a level head and always have, your stop losses in place and your smart trading strategies. But it's been awesome to take advantage of some of these nice upward gains. And, Tesla, Apple, Amazon, all on the radar tomorrow for good continuations off of this amazing movement today. Whenever you have Tesla moving 10%, that is just no joke right there. Things are definitely starting to pick up for them in the short term.
There we go. And if you guys are new to the channel, consider destroying that subscribe button to get our videos recommended to you more often. We post brand new videos all the time, and in each video we cover everything you need to know about the market. We show charts that you would have otherwise never seen, and even multi-million-dollar big money trades just like the SLV one talked about today. So consider crushing that subscribe button. And before we close out, I want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, XGX in the StockedUp trading floor, that just did a phenomenal job today, and they've been a great member of the community. So huge shout out to XGX. Again, great job today, and keep on improving, and we love to see the screenshots like you posted today. But again, huge shout out to you, and if you are into short-term trading, check out that first link in the description in the comments down below to join in on the StockedUp trading floor. You get full access to all of our custom bots. You can chat with Tom and myself all day long, access the multi-million-dollar big money trades on the same day the trade is made, so you can oftentimes get better entry opportunities, and also join our live live events, as well as many other crucial features when it comes to short-term trading. Basically, if you're into short-term trading, it's the place to be, and we have a great deal going on right now with coupon code Big Money for the yearly plan. Again, it'll be that first link in the description in the comments down below. But besides that, thank you all so much for watching, and let's make tomorrow a great one.